we were just talking about this off the air. You were one of Snoop Dogg's bodyguards, Snoop Lion, whatever his name is.
Yeah, back in the day, yes, I was. That was about God, it seemed like a lifetime ago, but yeah, I was Snoop's bodyguard.
Any interesting stories?
Oh man, it was like working at a circus. I traveled all over the world with him, but probably my fondest memories of working with Snoop is coaching his youth football team. So
He does that with the kids still. And what do you think about his new name, Snoop Dogg, and now Snoop Dogg is Snoop Lion?
well, you know what? He's still Snoop Dogg on Twitter, and I always know him as Boss, so I don't have to worry about his name switch. But I think it had a lot to do with the documentary movie he did, and he's embracing the Jamaican Rastafarian lifestyle, I believe. So I think that's where that comes from. But whenever I talk to him, it's always, "Hey, Boss." So I can't go wrong with Boss.
Got it. So Brodus Clay from the WWE here, WrestleMania, this is huge. Everybody from all over the world comes. It's going to be like the second biggest WrestleMania of all time from what I hear, right behind WrestleMania 3.
Yes.
So how are your nerves going? I mean, this is your first Mania, right?
No, this is my third Mania. Actually.
On the main card, right? The first one?
With Alberto, the first one.
Wrestling, I should say.
This is my first actual wrestling match, yes. But this is my third time at the great event. But I was outside. I was on top of it dancing last year. And then this year, 2 feet in it, and I'm putting hands on the Rhodes Scholars. So I'm excited.
The Rhodes Scholars. Now, what do you make of these guys? I mean, you got Damian Sandow. Do you even understand his vocabulary?
Actually, I do. The Funkasaurus is on point with the language. But you know what's funny? They say Rhodes Scholars. They ask me, like, there's 2 of them, right? Have you ever noticed that Cody Rhodes never says anything witty? He just kind of looks at Sandow and goes, yeah. Like, he doesn't say anything. Like, Sandow will drop these thespian bombs, and then Cody will kind of look at him. Can I talk now? And then he'll give him a look, and he'll be like, yeah. Or he'll say, you're welcome, and then Sandow will give him a dirty look like, don't say my words. So there's some dissension in that name, and where my team's name, Tons of Funk, represents just that. Myself, Sweet Tea, Funkadactyls, just a lot of fun, and we're unified, and we're focused for this week.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Now, tons of fun. Okay. Lord Tensai, now Sweet Tea.
Yes. Yourself.
Now, this may or may not be true, so you can set the rumor straight. When you debuted for WWE and they were saying you were coming in, everyone thought you were coming in. You're having a fun time now, but you're still beating people up. Everyone thought you were going to be a mean guy that came in as a killer. Same thing with Tensai. Now you guys have both kind of made the transition for the fun guys that beat people up. What are your feelings on that? I mean, is it just you just like coming out and dancing, or what's the deal?
You know what? To be honest with you, the angry guy gets old fast. I mean, how long can you be mad? You know what I'm saying? And that I'm unapproachable, and I'm so tough and angry that I'm going to hurt everybody. I think it's a real turn off to fans. I mean, there's some diehards that want monsters and stuff because they want to be monsters and they can't. So, but honestly, when I look at great performers and great athletes, they always had tremendous charisma, and there's no reason why, if I have it, I shouldn't use it. And when you come out and, like, if you look at someone like Shaquille O'Neal, perfect example. Here's a guy, just had his jersey retired. When tip-off came, he was a beast, straight business. But before tip-off, interviews, entrances, he was goofy, silly, makes everyone laugh, approachable. Apollo Creed, probably he actually only won 1 fight in the whole series, but everyone remembers his awesome entrances and his death scene. But which inspired Rock to beat but whatever. But the point is, yeah.
Are you a big Rocky fan?
Who isn't?
Okay, we're out of Philadelphia, so before you, I don't want to cut you off there, but I have to. Favorite Rocky?
Rocky 3.
I say 4.
And I'm going to tell you why. Clubber Lang, who was also the inspiration for this hairdo, is the greatest villain in the history of movies, and I'll tell you why. You could say, someone would argue and say, like, Darth Vader, right? But when Darth Vader lost, he turned, right? He was like, oh, Luke, I loved you, and I wish I could have been there, but child support was high, whatever. Even when he got beat, when he woke up mad. When they gave him the smelling salts, he's like, ugh. He stayed mean the entire time. He did not give in, and no, he was great, and he had some of the greatest one-lines ever.
Give me one.
I mean, of course, this is the famous, I'm going to bust you up. But, I love that. Get that look off your face before I knock it off. I don't need no has-been in my corner messing it up. Of course, you don't need no has-been in your corner messing it up, And then he told him, you want to chump? You want to chump? And then at one point when he was fighting Rocky, he told him, I got a lot of more. You know what I mean? I got a lot of more. I'm going to get you. So, and some of the Brodus Clay stuff, you'll hear me talking to the guy in the ring. Like, here it comes. I'm going to suplex you. Here it comes. Where you going? And I've even told the guy, you must be crazy or something. I go Clubber Lane when I'm really feeling myself in the ring. So that's all-time favorite. And actually for me, after Clubber wins, that's when I roll credits. So it doesn't go past that one. Yes, I missed the whole montage, the training stuff. Clubber Lane wins. Let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. We don't need the rest of it. Huge Clubber Lane. That's why Rocky 3 is my favorite. And of course, Rocky 3 gave birth to Hulkamania. I would argue that. Thunder Lips, it put him on the world stage, and everyone started talking about it, and it kind of took off from there.
Did you ever see Stallone's wrestling movie? Paradise Alley, it's called.
You know what? I vaguely remember some of it. Oh yeah, matter of fact, yes I do. And Stallone is, Stallone was synonymous with. He's always promoted things, boxing, wrestling. He's always been like a man's man in terms of like our sports and things like that. So he's always been just great in terms of like having him around and stuff.
I feel like he's very respectful when it comes to wrestling, sports, entertainment, boxing community. Like you said, I totally agree with that. Now, you talk Clubber Lang though in the movie, Mr. T. Of course, everyone knows that. Who's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but was here at WrestleMania 1. What are your thoughts? Think he'll ever go in?
Oh, I think he will. Probably the timing's right. I don't make those decisions, but I would think that he would be at the top of the list every year. Just for what he meant to the WWE at the time and what the WWE meant to him. Like again, Rocky 3. Made a lot of people household names, and it might not have been a Shakespearean classic, but you wouldn't have had Mr. T's cereal, and you wouldn't have said your prayers and ate your vitamins if it wasn't for Rocky 3. So
very true. So you say Clubber Lang kind of has a little bit of influence when you're talking trash and saying stuff to people in the ring. When you first got involved in wrestling, when was that? And who was your big influence that kind of helped you through? I mean, you're a big dude. You have some charisma, and they had to see something in you.
I was discovered by Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer had come when WrestleMania was in Los Angeles. He had brought a few wrestlers with him to dinner at a place. When I was not bodyguard, I substitute teach during the day. I bounced clubs at night, and I was working. And when I wasn't, I worked like every other week for Snoop. And then I had a place called Saddle Ranch. I ran the security there, so I would check in and make sure everyone was working and doing their thing. And they came in, and I was a huge fan my whole life. So as soon as I saw Tommy Dreamer and those guys, and the line for Saddle Ranch is unbelievable. So it's nuts. It's crazy. The place holds like 3,000 people. It's unbelievable. So I wouldn't let them wait in line. I brought them in. I put them up on the stage in the VIP service and bought their first round of drinks and their food, and I took care of them. And a fight broke out by two of these smallest guys. It was like I walked over, it was like children. You know what I mean? It was like fellas. I was like laughing and like, hey, guys, seriously, stop. And they both hit me. And it was like, and I was like, you guys, are you really? And so I may or may not have quite possibly butted their little heads together. And then as they fell, I picked them up by their belts. I call it suitcasing them. And carried them out. And I was like, look what I got, guys. And I was carrying them out. And Tommy came running up to assist me, actually. And I was like, you are not helping me. He's like, no, I used to do this. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, Tommy Dreamer's helped me throw guys out of a club. So that was cool. We shook hands, and then he was like, hey, you should be doing this with us. And I was like, yeah, right. You guys ain't hiring. And he's like, well, actually, I'm in charge of talent. And I was like, oh, okay. And you didn't have to say all this. I appreciate you. And then we exchanged numbers. A few weeks later, he said, give me a call. And he says, you're flying to Atlanta for a tryout. And I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah, right. And then next thing I know, I was in Atlanta for a tryout, and they gave me an opportunity. And
that quick, huh?
Yeah, it was some time. It was about a year from the time that we met that I actually finally got down to George, because I had bodyguard obligations and things like that, and work and the move. And then I was with them for about 2.5 years, and then I got released, went back to bodyguarding, and then came back in December of 2011, and the rest has been, or 2010 actually, sorry. So I'm going on 3.5 years now back with the company.
I want to talk about, you said you got released. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When you got released, were you fired? But when they fired you, were you like, oh, that's it, down on myself? You're like, I'm coming back harder. How did you handle that? Where were you? Tell me when it happened. Tell me all about it.
I got the phone. It was actually my favorite football team just lost to the Giants. The Patriots had the perfect season, and the Giants ruined it, and 19-1 was like horrible. And I was thinking to myself, well, it can't get any worse. And I got a call the next day after practice, which is rude.
Yeah, right.
Call me before practice.
You have to go.
You know what I'm saying? So after practice, and I was told that I wasn't developing like they wanted, and they were going to maybe look in the future for us to work together, but right now we needed to part ways. And I was like, all right. And then I packed my bags. I went back to California and I actually put wrestling behind me. I actually thought well, you know what? I thought that it was crazy I made it once, and to think I'm going to come back or whatever was an unrealistic goal. So I went back to bodyguarding and substitute teaching. Was doing very well, traveling the world with Snoop. And
What did you want to teach?
I was teaching physical education and history. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, well, history's easy. The answers are in the book, kids.
As long as you can remember them. It's not like math.
Remember 'em, you got it. Yeah, you don't have to add nothing. Just remember. So I was kind of doing that, and then I would have dreams at night about wrestling and stuff, but I kept it very quiet, And Snoop, we came off a tour from Australia, and he was going to Jacksonville's Monday Night Raw when he hosted it, and he had a new song out, and I tried to change shifts so I didn't have to go because I didn't want to go. I got fired from there. You want to go back to your old job? It's embarrassing.
No, but didn't you think? See, I would have been thinking opportunity to get back.
I was thinking they fired me. They're going to make jokes that I'm there. I'm going to be one of those guys that I've seen that got fired that's hanging up against the wall. I didn't want to be one of those guys. I had some dignity and pride still. I didn't want to see them. They didn't want me. I didn't want them. That was my attitude. And then that changed. As soon as I showed up, they had open arms and met me at the door. I remember Cena shook my hand, and he was like, how you doing? I was like, great to see you. And then John Laurinaitis was like, the door's still open. I was like, you guys closed it pretty hard, actually. I still have splinters in my face, but that's cool. And about 2 weeks later, I was sitting around there, and I was like, I can do this bodyguarding for the rest of my life, or I could take a chance and go back and do what I always wanted to do. And I called him up, and I asked him if the offer was still on the table, and he was like, yeah. And I came back, and I'm glad, obviously, I did. And it's been great ever since.
Yeah, I mean, you see on TV, you're just kicking butt. The kids love you. I feel like fans just love you because you're a fun act that goes out there. Your act is awesome. Where did you come up with this? I mean, did Vince McMahon himself meet? Like, what was your first meeting like? Did you meet up with Vince and go, I got this great idea, and you're going to do Funkadactyls? And
I always avoid the bosses like a plague. In any job in life, I've always been the guy who was like, is that the boss? All right, I'll be over there. Because I'm always like the quiet rebellion, always got some sarcastic thing to say, or, well, if I was doing it, I'd do it like this. I've always got that. I'm the armchair quarterback. So, and I would joke around. I joke around a lot, and I'm always cracking jokes. And unfortunately, I cracked the joke. Or fortunately, the Funkasaurus is basically me making fun of somebody's dance moves and being silly in the back. And they were like, why don't you do that out there? I'm like, you guys won't let me. And they're like, yeah, we would. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna destroy things. I'll just be it's fine. And I was like, no, it was a bad idea. What was I thinking? And there was a lot of nights in front of the mirror going, what were you, banging my head like, you can't dance. How are you gonna do this? And once I embraced it and put my own spin on it and asked for the Funkadactyls and stuff like that, and knew I had great dancers behind me that would cover up with my dancing inefficiencies. Then from there was just like a chance to smile and crack jokes and be myself and when you're yourself, people see that and it's genuine. To look mad all the time and burn a hole through a kid that you're actually glad came to the show, it's kind of tough to do every night. And so I'm glad I get to be the other way.
That's what I was going to say the whole time I've been sitting here with you. Now, I was one of those guys at first, like looking forward to you coming in and just crushing people. And then I was still excited to see, because I knew this act, gimmick, whatever you want to call it, has legs to it. You'll be around for a long time, and you can use it for a long time. But I'm glad after sitting here talking to you, you're such a nice guy, and it comes through on the TV screen. Whereas if you're a bad guy, I mean, you can't show that. You can definitely show how nice you are.
You don't get to see that, and I think there's nothing wrong with role models don't have to be destroyers. You know what I mean? And I think our kids need to see things that they can touch and they can do and they can have fun with, and dance and have a good time. And when it comes time to take care of business. But it's okay to be silly too. You know what I mean? And that's important.
So being a teacher, and you kind of just gave some advice, but I'm going to ask some more. You're a young Brodus Clay. You're growing up. Did you have a teacher that really affected you to make you a teacher or gave you advice?
Oh, yes. I had a lot of great teachers. I had football coaches that were great. Coach Martinez, he was awesome, offensive line coach, and There was a Dr. Bishop. He was the one who got me into teaching. I wasn't big on teaching, and he was like, "You need to teach." I'm like, "Yeah, right." Yeah, he thought I had to. It was all that talking you do. You might as well use it. So I was like, "All right." But there was several teachers, but those two stand out the most. And I was kind of I was like a class clown. I did my work. I stayed on top of my work. I was a bookworm, but I always had something to say, and they channeled that instead of turning against me. So.
Have you always been? I mean, when you were younger, I mean, did you just get big through puberty? What happened? You just blew up?
You know what? I watched a lot of Incredible Hulk stuff, and because my family is not big, and so I don't really fit in. I don't fit in the family pictures or anything. So I think it was just I talked about it all the time. That, every time I got grounded or spanked, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be big one day, and you're not gonna be able to do this. And they're like, yeah, right. And boy, it worked. So positive thinking, and lots of milk seems to help.
As far as being in school and all, when you were coming up, when you were younger, being a bigger guy, did you ever encounter? I mean, you class clown, you sound like you're pretty popular, but did you ever encounter any kind of bullies or trouble?
You know what? I moved around a lot, and I was in the foster care system, so I got more and kids can be like, if they find out stuff like that, they can be pretty vicious. So I got some of the bullying, and unfortunately for me, how I usually reacted to it was I become physical. I get in a lot of fights and stuff like that. And the teachers would generally bust the guy who retaliated opposed to the guy who did it, so I was in trouble quite a bit. But eventually there was some good role models around me and taught me to express my feelings and say what's bothering me and those type of things. And I was able to get through that and become less of a reactive guy. And when bullying did occur, I was able to verbally deal with it opposed to going, "What'd you say?" and go. Because that happened a lot, like, what'd you call me? And now I was like, oh, nice words, that's cool, spell it. And, the bullies would be, yeah.
I feel like if you just own it and you let them and you go, yeah, that's it, and just kind of make it goes away.
And if it's more severe than that, tell somebody. I mean, in the Be a Star program, we preach it all the time. If you talk about it, it's not a bully. It's not worth it because you're too much work. He'll go find someone who doesn't say anything. Because unfortunately, people don't say anything. It's not cool, and it needs to be cool. If someone's bothering you, to talk about it.
All right, Brodus Clay from the WWE WrestleMania. How are your nerves? How are your nerves going in? I mean, there's gonna be like 80-some thousand people here tonight, and
thanks for bringing that up. Honestly, I'll be cool as the other side of the pillow up until about an hour before, and then Mothra will show up and the butterflies, and it doesn't matter where we're at. I always have butterflies before I go out. I'm always nervous, but this will probably be a huge, like I said, Mothra type moth in my stomach.
It's going to be huge, and you can order tonight live on pay-per-view basis, WWE.com for more. You can probably stream it there as well. It's going to be a great show. WrestleMania 29 tonight. Thanks for stopping by, Brodus.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, buddy.
All right.